Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. This is Amhara Media Corporation, Amhara TV News. I am Gaila Damu. Stay tuned. Chief of Amhara Region Agenyo Teshagar has given a press statement yesterday on current affairs. On his statement, he called on all the people to stand in unison, understanding that the terrorist TPLF group is tirelessly working against Ethiopian people. Fikra Dizawdo reports.
On a press statement issued yesterday, head of the Amhara Regional State Agenyo Teshagar calls the people of Ethiopia to make the survival struggle a national one, noting that the terrorist TPLF group has been losing a lot in terms of life and property. It still is fighting to dismantle Ethiopia. It is to be recalled that the Amhara Regional State made a duty call for war, and also the federal government of Ethiopia made similar calls to join the survival struggle. Agenyo said that the commitment the people of Amhara is showing to destroy the terrorist group has been great so far, and the attacks of TPLF on Afar and Amhara region has shown the ulterior motives of external forces. He added that TPLF forces are trying to take over some places in North Wallo, South Gondar and North Gondar, having a mission of killing, abusing and looting properties. According to Agenyo, people of Tigray and people of Amhara are still brothers and sisters, but TPLF forces many farmers and youths to engage in this war, adding that TPLF is not working to liberate Tigrayans or to protect people's rights. Instead, it is working for the group's benefit at the expense of the people of Tigray. So people should not buy its propaganda and start thinking that TPLF is the conqueror trying to invade Ethiopia. Agenyo further noted that TPLF group is working with Oneg Shene to advance Amhara people and disintegrate Ethiopia. As Agenyo, on the places TPLF attack, more than 500,000 people have been displaced. People have been robbed and national treasures are looted to Tigray, and public service-giving organizations are destroyed too. Moreover, he noted the various atrocities TPLF is doing, including killing children and raping women, stating that the data-giving organizations are not stating the right number when it comes to displaced people. As to Agenyo, the Defense Force, Amhara Special Force, Militia and Fano are destroying the TPLF troops in every direction, supported by air forces. He finally urged the people of Ethiopia to join the struggle, knowing that this is a question of national sovereignty and people should stand in unison to protect their surrounding and to expose spies and agents of TPLF.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said that if Ethiopians courageously stand together to confront and resist the efforts being carried out by Western diplomacy and media to forcefully twist the hands of Ethiopia, the terrorist TPLF will be dismantled once and for all. Abebe Berhane tells us more.
The Premier, in his statement issued before yesterday, stated that the Western diplomacy and media have continued efforts to echoing the voices of the terrorist group, noting that Ethiopia in its histories had gone through several challenges and predicaments. However, the Premier added that its courageous people had not sat and waited, instead paid their lives to confront the challenges, to dishonorably defeat the enemies of their country. Abiy stated that with these heroic sacrifices of its gallant children, Ethiopia's enemies had fallen, while the nation has been able to confidently stand in the face of this world. He recalled that a number of nations in the world had experienced similar conspiracies that created the threats of disintegration in one time or another. The Prime Minister said that countries like Yugoslavia, Syria, Somalia and Libya had fallen with these conspiracies. However, he added that Germany, Japan, Korea and Vietnam are some of the pioneering nations that successfully thwarted the crises they had gone through by confronting them with strong unity. He stated, currently, these nations are among the key models for their economic might, modern political system, technological capabilities and civilized social values. The Premier said these countries had been tested by the dreadful and most challenging predicaments, however, surpassed them and become prosperous now by using the challenges as a springboard. He also indicated that there are lots of other countries in the world that had encountered similar situations like the one that we have now been facing. He said that there are no challenges and predicaments that Ethiopia had never been through in its history, adding that the nation was able to reserve and overcome the challenges wisely with unity. Whatever huge are the threats coming from the outside world or challenges arise from inside the country, when there is a strong unity among the people of Ethiopia, challenges had never been beyond their capabilities. He said that the terrorist TPLF is now making its last effort and has been lamenting for help, losing hope. The Prime Minister stated that the enemies of Ethiopia have been waging war on two fronts, one in war front and the other by diplomatic front, and called all concerned about the survival of Ethiopia to join and confront the two fronts by refraining from conspiracy analysis and unnecessary fear. He said that diplomacy and foreign relations are political game guided by the principle of give and take, and he added that there is no doubt that Ethiopia will benefit the most from the right line of diplomacy. Furthermore, he stated on contrary, diplomatic relations conducted by endangering the national interest and sovereignty of our country might bring temporary relief, but its long-term negative consequences are significant. Abiy underscored that the government is doing its part to prevent this. It will continue to do so. According to him, the traditional diplomatic relations is not the major way to create influence. For instance, the Western world uses the international media outlets to pressurize nations that they are interested by conducting enormous campaign. The Premier noted that when Ethiopia began to resist their pressures, they will launch destructive information campaign to tarnish our image, for they are immensely capable in this regard and they have a wide range of media tools and advanced power to misrepresent the people of the world. He stressed the need for the work together and harmony to counter the media and diplomatic pressure on Ethiopia, adding that Ethiopians must take advantage of all the opportunities they have to defend the campaign open. Furthermore, he stressed that it is necessary to resist and defend the news that harms the country on social and mainstream media at home and abroad, individually and collectively.
Trainee soldiers at online training centers say they are ready to bravely evacuate the TPLF terrorist group and defend Ethiopia's sovereignty. Brown Workner has the details.
A group of artists drawn from National Theatre and Oromia Culture Center have presented their work for soldiers who are taking basic military training in Online Training Center. On the occasion, soldiers stated that they have completed their preparedness to fight the TPLF terrorist group rushing to dismantle the nation and threaten the lives of the people by now.
We are here to discharge our national responsibility. We have a responsibility to sustain the legacy of our forefathers. Patriotism requires sacrifice even up to this. So that's why we are here now.
ዳር ድንበሯን ለመጠበቅ ስለመጣን የድል በማግኘት እኔ በኔ በኩል በጣም ደስታዬ ነው።
I am so happy to get this opportunity to keep the sovereignty of our country Ethiopia. I will do my best to keep the dignity of my country. Our forefathers had destroyed their enemies without having modern firearms. However, these days we have modern armaments, so we will fight our enemies and keep the sovereignty of our country. Even if we have no modern firearms, we will fight for our country with sword and shield like what our forefathers did. We have decided to keep the unity of our country regardless of religion, language, ethnicity and culture. I'm ready to die for my country. We have voluntarily come here to fight against the terrorist group. Our trainers have been giving us the required training We will also be loyal to our country, even up to sacrificing our lives. As to me, I will serve my country and struggle to destroy the junta.
አገሬን አገለግላለሁ እና ጁንታን አጠፋለሁ ብዬ ነው የመጣሁት።
The soldiers who are taking basic military training stated that the training is important to revert whatever kind of threat on the national sovereignty of the country.
ማንኛውንም ጠላት የምንመክትበትና ማንኛውንም ጠላት የምናጠፋበት የሚገርም ስልጠና ነው እየተሰጠን ያለው።
The basic military training which is being given is very important to defend whatever kind of enemies which threaten the national sovereignty. Each and every kind of training is being given keeping its schedule into consideration. Therefore, this training is important to build our capacity and enhance the psychology of the army.
በስነ ልቦና የሚጠግነን ልቦናችንን የሚያበረታ ነው።
የስልጣና ሁኔታ በጣም ደስ የሚል እጅግ በጣም ደስ የሚል ነው ከምንም በላይ ማለት ነው።
The basic military training which is being given is interesting more than anything. What we have been hearing before joining the training center and what we are training is completely different. My families do not have awareness about military and military training. However, the training is interesting and it makes me to have patriotic feeling to my country. We are training regardless of ethnicity, religion and race.
ብሔር የለ ሃይማኖት የለ ዘረኝነት የለ።
The trainers on the occasion stated that the trainees have the spirit of Ethiopia and committed to safeguard the sovereignty of the nation from any kind of internal and external provocations.
እንደምታየው አንተም እንደታዘብከው
As you have seen, the military members are taking the training receiving the mission of the government and the public. They are taking challenging basic military training now. Therefore, the training has tremendous role to fight anti-peace forces internally and externally. It is a training which answers the national call of the country.
የሀገርን ወቅታዊ ጥያቄ የመለሰ
On the occasion, State Ministry of Peace Worknesh Buru, senior government officials of Ministry of Defense and artists have attended the concert which initiates military's patriotic feeling so as to safeguard the country's sovereignty from internal and external traitors.
Ethio-Arab relations researcher Zahid Zaidan Al-Harari said Sudan's request to mediate between the government of Ethiopia and the terrorist TPLF is surprising after it stabbing Ethiopia in the back while the nation was engaged in law enforcement efforts in the north. Brown Workana has more on it.
In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, the researcher inquired how can the government of Sudan be confident in its request to mediate after stabbing Ethiopia in the back by occupying its land while the nation was engaged in the law enforcement operation in the north. Ethiopia believes that the prevalence of peace in neighboring countries is vital to create peace in Ethiopia. The researcher noted, recalling Ethiopia's unreserved efforts to the peaceful resolution of the Sudanese political challenges that was accomplished with great success. Zahid said the relationship of Ethiopia and Sudan is multifaceted and intrinsically interdependent between the people of the two countries. Unfortunately, some political elites in Sudan have been trying to tarnish the relationship between the two countries, and the recent aggression carried out by the government of Sudan on Ethiopian territory could be cited as one instance. The researcher regretted the Sudanese incursion into Ethiopian territory in December 2020, describing it a stab in the back unexpected from the brotherly state of Sudan. Moreover, Sudan requested to mediate the conflict between the terrorist group TPLF and federal government, which is like trying to mix water with oil, the researcher stated, adding that this is unexpected as the group has already been designated as terrorist for its heinous acts by the House of People's representatives. He elaborated the government of Ethiopia would not negotiate with a terrorist group, as it is also the practice of several countries across the world. Furthermore, the researcher said the request by itself is surprising, as the government of Sudan has already inflicted damage on Ethiopia by illegally occupying its territories and remaining rigid to the calls being made by the government of Ethiopia to maintain the status quo. Zahid explained that the people of the two countries describe themselves as sister countries. stressing the need for the current administration in Sudan to realize the eternal bond and strive to further cement this centuries-old relationship. The researcher pointed out that if Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, Kenya and South Sudan became prosperous, Ethiopia will also benefit a lot too. It is to be recalled that Press Secretary of the Prime Minister Office, Bilani Sim, dismissed the possibility of Sudan's mediation request. She described the relationship with Khartoum as a little bit tricky and said trust should be the basis of any mediation, but this was eroded especially following the Sudanese army incursion into Ethiopian territory.
According to the historian Taye Bogale, the recently issued report of Amnesty International reflects partiality and bias of the organization. Fikradi Zaudu reports.
In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, Taye said the report exposed its partiality by omitting many truths. He added, though well aware of the cause of the conflict and who triggered the war, it did not want to reveal these facts. He noted that TPLF clique triggered the war by committing heinous act on the northern command of the Ethiopian National Defense Force stationed in Tigray last November. The historian noted that this had ever been committed in any country. Moreover, Amnesty International chose to ignore the massacres committed in Maikadra, Humera and Afar by the terrorist group. Besides, Taye recalled that this same group committed massacre on Eritrean refugees sheltered in Tigray region. He pointed out that all these inhuman acts were omitted from the Amnesty International, proving its partiality. Taye elaborated that though collecting huge information under a stable condition is necessary to issue such a report, the institution gathered information from only one side and issued a report that lacks balance. According to the historian, issuing such a report in the midst of the national call is aimed at thwarting the objective of the TPLF clique to disintegrate the country is part of the campaign launched against Ethiopia. The scholar finally called on the people of Ethiopia to stand in unison and ensure to stop the proxy war waged against the country.
You're watching Amhara Media Corporation, Amhara TV News, and now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate in karat rate. That's all we have for now. I'm Gaila Damu. Many thanks for watching. Stay safe and goodbye.